So, the Bazillion Dollar Club. Let's talk a little bit about the name.
Yeah.
Great name.
Where did that even come from? Did you guys want that?
Yeah, it probably didn't come from us, I guess.
It was a long-fought battle. We wanted something more like Geek Factory or Fail Factory.
Fail Factory, yes. A little bit more descriptive.
You wanted a little bit more of a humble brag of a name.
We were not going for the Trump-esque version of the name, but I guess the network wanted something aspirational, and it seemed like the ad sales worked, so we had to settle for something in between.
How did this even happen? Like, I mean, there's always like startup founders that talk to me, and there's producers that come through town, like after Bravo. There's been many networks that have inquired, like, hey, we want to do a show about what Silicon Valley is really like. But a lot of times I see these kind of talks sort of break down because no one's ever sure about like, how are people going to come off,
right.
or
no one's stupid enough to actually follow through on it all the way. It actually started about 3 years ago. We met the folks who shoot Anthony Bourdain's show in Hawaii, of all places, at a food and wine conference. And I ended up having a conversation with one of the producers there. And he was saying, hey, we're thinking about doing a show about incubators. And I was like, oh, okay, I know a few things about that. I don't want to bore you with the long details, but it took about a year to get the concept together, a year to pitch the right network and find Sci-Fi Channel, and then almost a year shooting since January.
So, I mean, I joined the project like 2 years ago, right when Highway 1 was getting started. So they actually came in to film the very first week of Highway 1 as part of the pitch to Sci-Fi. So we didn't really even know what Highway 1 was going to be at that point.
What made you comfortable with it? Because like when Bravo did its show, I mean, the criticism was that doesn't really
I had
look
a cameo
like,
in that show. So.
I mean, for me, it's what we're already doing. Like, we bring these teams in, and the idea of letting in kind of documentarians to watch it and film it was scary, but it's already what we're doing. So I didn't mind them coming in and showing off and hopefully helping the teams.
I mean, I think the problem with a lot of these shows in the past is they've tried to make drama out of shit that's not really that dramatic.
But you're already dramatic, so it's totally fine.
Whether or not I'm dramatic. I think, the companies are trying to raise sometimes millions of dollars. They very often fail. And so we don't really need to make up a lot of shit. Either they're going to survive and raise millions of dollars, or they're going to fail and have to get another job. And both of those, I think, outcomes are interesting.
I mean, in each case, the teams are trying to make a product. Sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. Founders leave, employees leave. And, I mean, you'll see that on the show.
So what are the biggest tension points? I mean, like, there was a lot of, in the clip that we showed here, there was a lot of debate over, the size and shape of their product.
I don't know if Brady probably runs into more design decisions for hardware.
Yeah.
Most of the times, like the big issue that we face with companies is, are they growing or not, and can they explain their story? So a lot of it is like, how do you get continuing growth for the company, and can you not fall over your own fucking face while you're trying to tell the story on demo day?
And in my case, these are teams, hardware teams that are trying to make one of their product. And so often they haven't raised funding yet, and so they're doing this on a ramen budget, literally. And they're just trying to figure out, like, are we making the right thing?
So there's like, each episode focuses on a specific one startup, and you get 3 from your batch and 3 from your batch.
Yep. So basically 3 software companies and 3 hardware companies, and each has a few points of tension and hopefully finds their way to $1 million on demo day. Some of them do, some of them don't.
Okay. And what is it like filming a reality TV show? Did they just come in for a couple hours, or are they following you everywhere?
A lot more than a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Like, probably we shot, I would guess, at least 100 hours each, maybe more like 150 to 200 hours.
100 hours.
So since January, probably, 2 or 3 days of shooting a week for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And they would set up specific rooms, and so we would kind of like stack all of our meetings with those teams for those days, and they would all be in those rooms, and we'd have to like kind of rehash old topics that hadn't been filmed to make sure that there was a narrative happening.
What do you think of how like media coverage of the Valley, in the TV and film format has changed since the time you've been here?
Well, I mean, I think there's some unreality in the regular journalistic coverage that happens in the Valley.